Hello and welcome to Staffino Manager Training. Today we're going to look at how to use and manage the Staffino Manager app and what features you can expect and use to elevate the customer experience. So first of all, you will access the webpage business.staffino.com and you will sign in with your managerial account via the email and password you have received. Once you've signed in, you will have an option to review several of the views if you have set them up, and if it's a part of the setup that we have done together. So I'm going to focus on the admin view here because that's the most common and standard view that we use for all the manager access and where you will find most of the tools to use. So once I click on that, I get to the campaign selection. So for the purpose of this demo, we will use our default demo campaign, but of course you can choose and select any of the campaigns that are accessible to you. Once you clicked on the specific campaign, you will get straight to the dashboard where you can see the basic overview page. So starting from the top, on the top you will see a filter that is one of your best friends when using Staffino. So first of all, when you click on that, you can select various options to filter out, whether that's, for example, organizational unit, whether that's structure, whether that's categories or profiles of individual agents. Whether that's, for example, type of other feedback, whether it was read, moved, or so on, or whether that's your own parameters that you're transferring into Staffino. If you don't see any parameters here in the bottom part, that means that you are running on a default setup and you are not sending any specific parameters to us, which if you want to do, you can discuss with your account manager. If we look at any of those filters, you can see the search bar up here, which applies to the specific category that you selected. So it does not apply to the whole filter, but to the specific category that you currently clicked at, for example, whether that's a question, organizational unit, and so on. You can, of course, use the Omni search, which will give you the results of everything through the whole Staffino that contains the phrase that you just searched for. And then up here on the right side, you can see the date and time manager, where you can actually select the date ranges, whether you're going to use the left bar where you have some of the presets, or you're going to use your own by just clicking on specific dates. It's completely up to you. When you hit apply, it applies the conditions, and then we can look at this specifically. In the bottom part, you will find the tabs with various metrics that you are collecting based on the feedback and the questionnaires you have set up. You can, of course, hover over each of the widgets that represent each of the metrics to see the questions that you are currently asking and the results. Once you click through, you get to the details of the specific metric and the specific question. For example, if we choose CSAT with employee, you can again see the question on the top, and then you can see the basic results such as the positive satisfaction score, negative satisfaction score percentages, the number of responses, and then specific details, whether that's the number of the starts, whether that's the progress of the satisfaction, dissatisfaction, or the variational analysis that actually goes down to the level of a profile, where you can immediately see who are the best and the worst performers in terms of agent CSAT. You can, of course, use the time analysis options, and you can basically look at the daily, weekly, monthly data dependent on what you're looking for. You can actually select out some trends and look at that via trend options. In every single metric, you will find the collapse table, which you will also find in the overview and gives you a very powerful tool to actually review and quickly see all the details that are ongoing in your structure. So dependent on how large the setup and the structure in your company is, you will see different categories and level of collapses that you can open. So for example, if we look at Czech Republic, we can see all the results are good here. We don't have to worry too much, but we can see that there is some NPS problems, for example, here in Germany. So if I want to drill down to the individual details, I can see the problems are on a call center in the team 1. And here we go. Jolie Chiara needs some training because she's got the worst scores. So from the first look, I can immediately see that there is a problem with this agent who I can filter out, who I can focus on in my daily training and in my daily routine, and I know I'm going to improve his performance quite quickly. Then you can also look at the trends in the average response intensity. So you see by the amount of squares that are colored when the responses are coming in. So that's very useful for planning the distribution model and the right times when to ask your customers some questions. If we go over here, you can actually use this various tabs. What I would focus on now is the attributes tab. So if you're transferring any specific attributes to Staffino, you can then look at the results through the data that you are sending in and the various parameters of the sessions that you're transferring to our system. So that can be, for example, contact reason CSAT. So based on the contact reasons through your call center channels, you can see what the satisfaction was and so on. Next to the feedback management, where you can actually manage all the feedbacks that you have received, I'm going to expand this to the last 365 days so we get a little bit more of feedbacks to work with. So you see how many feedbacks you received in total, how many are unread and unanswered. If you click on either of those, it will filter those feedbacks out so you can very quickly action them and start working on them. Again, the filters are present here. If you selected any filters in the results page, you will also see them here in the feedback management. So for example, if I wanted to focus on a specific profile, I can just basically select the agent. I can select, for example, Agatha here, and very easily just filter out their feedbacks and start working on them. When we get to the individual feedback details, you can actually see that there is the full scope of the questions that have been asked and the answers, also including any verbatims that have been received. Up here, you can see labels, which are basically fully customizable. You can add and create labels and then add them to various feedbacks. So then you can easily filter on them, or you can report to other managers based on, for example, if it was a technical problem. Then you see some basic data regarding the feedback, when it was left at, whether it was reply, which flow it was sent from, what was the feedback source, and then if you're sending any interactional or customer attributes to us, you can see them here in the bottom part, such as contact reason or average spend per user and so on, dependent on what the setup and the use case we're currently doing together is. Then up here, you can use reply to actually get back to your customers, which is one of the most powerful tools in Staffino because it allows you to get back to the customers and change their customer experience retrospectively, even though it may have not been so good when they've left the feedback. You can come back and help them to change the mood and the customer experience. Also, you can run internal discussions where you can add various members, whether that's the managers, the line managers, or if you want to add somebody from quality assurance and so on, you can very much add pretty much anybody who's available here, and then he sees the discussion and is able to comment and add his value to the discussion, or basically just review the messages. Up here with the three dots, you can actually see some more functionalities. So we can also add notes to the feedback. If you want to leave notes to your colleagues or to the agents, you can very easily add a note and add just, for example, please see CRM. Then you can also mark the feedback as unread. You can move the feedback to different operators, or you can mark it as unrelated, which means that it will not be counted in the statistics and it will not be related to the agent or made relevant at all. Also, you can use presets. So that means if you set up some filter, you can use a preset which can be already preset, or you can just save a new one. You can create any number of presets you would like to and want to. That also eases the filtration. So for example, this filter gives me all feedbacks with CSAT 1 and 2. So when I click on that, it just immediately loads all the feedbacks, and we can see that the employee CSAT is 1. And here the employee CSAT is 2, so it just filtered out all the feedbacks that I wanted to look at. In terms of distribution, this part we will cover in a different video, and in settings you can select auto reply conditions, which we will also cover in a different video. You can also use settings for your own profile via edit profile. So up here you just go in and you can edit the basic information about you, your profile, change your image, select your language, and also the notifications that you receive, and you can see which venues you are a manager of. Okay, so thank you for your attention. This was the basic review of Staffino managerial app. If you had any questions, feel free to contact our support, and we will be happy to help you at any time. Thank you and bye.